My name is Alexandra, and I never thought I'd be the one telling a story about family betrayal. Growing up, I believed family meant unconditional love and support. But sometimes, the people who are supposed to love you the most are the ones who hurt you beyond repair. It happened 3 years ago on my 30th birthday. I had taken the day off work, expecting to spend a quiet morning before meeting my family for dinner that evening. I remember feeling oddly content that day. The autumn leaves were falling outside my apartment window, painting Boston in shades of amber and gold. I had my coffee, a good book, and plans for a celebration later. Then my phone buzzed with a notification. Withdrawal. $25,000 from account number 4721. At first, I thought it was a mistake, a banking error, or worse, a hacker. My hands trembled as I logged into my account, only to find my savings money I'd been setting aside for 5 years to start my own small business completely drained. I called the bank immediately, panic rising in my throat. There must be some mistake, I insisted. The customer service representative's voice was calm, almost maddeningly so. The withdrawal was made in person, Miss Wagner, with proper identification and your account information. My mind raced. Who could have accessed my account? The answer came faster than I wanted to admit. Eliza, my younger sister. The only person who knew my banking details because I'd trusted her with them during a medical emergency the year before. I canceled my birthday dinner. I couldn't face anyone, not when betrayal was burning holes in my chest. Instead, I drove straight to my mother's house, where Eliza had been staying since her latest breakup. The confrontation remains etched in my memory like a scar that never quite heals. "Did you take my money?" I asked, standing in my mother's kitchen, voice trembling with rage and disbelief. Eliza didn't even look up from her phone. "You mean our money?" she said, as if it was the most obvious thing in the world. "I needed it for the down payment on the condo. You know how much I've wanted to move out of Mom's place." Our mother, Diane, walked in then, placing a protective hand on Eliza's shoulder. "Alexandra, why are you making such a scene? Your sister needed help." That's what family does, we help each other. The betrayal wasn't just the money. It was the casual way they dismissed my feelings. Like my years of saving meant nothing compared to Eliza's impulsive desire for a new condo. "That was my life savings," I said, my voice barely audible, "for my business." Eliza rolled her eyes. "Oh please, that cafe idea? You've been talking about it for years. At least I'm actually doing something with the money." I looked at my mother, hoping to find some recognition of the injustice, but her eyes had already hardened against me. "Alexandra, you've always been so selfish with your money. Your sister needs a fresh start after everything she's been through." Everything she'd been through. As if Eliza's string of bad relationships somehow entitled her to steal my future. "I want it back," I said firmly. "Every penny, or I'm going to the police." The silence that followed was deafening. Then my mother stepped forward, her face twisted in disbelief. "You would call the police on your own sister? After everything we've done for you?" Everything they'd done for me. The phrase echoed in my head like a bad joke. What exactly had they done except take until I had nothing left? "Yes," I answered, surprising even myself with my resolve. "I would." Eliza laughed then, a cold sound that seemed to chill the room. "Go ahead, the money's already been transferred to the developer. Besides, Mom co-signed for me on the account years ago, remember? It's perfectly legal." And that's when I realized this wasn't the first time. The shared account had been my mother's idea when I first started working after college. For emergencies, she'd said. I'd never thought to remove her access. Never imagined they would betray me like this. I left without another word, the weight of their betrayal pressing down on me like a physical force. Back in my apartment, I sat in darkness, scrolling through my phone, looking at years of messages asking for small loans that were never repaid, emergencies that somehow always coincided with shopping sprees or vacations. For the next week, I didn't answer their calls or texts. The messages started as angry demands that I stop overreacting, then shifted to guilt-laden pleas about family loyalty. My brother Marcus called, not to support me, but to tell me I was tearing the family apart over just money. Just money, my future, my independence, my trust reduced to just money. But the final blow came at my workplace. I was a project manager at a marketing firm, a job I'd worked hard to secure and maintain. I was in a meeting when my boss asked me to step outside. "Alexandra, is everything all right at home?" she asked, concern etched on her face. "Your mother called the office. She said you're having some mental health issues? That you've been making accusations against family members?" The humiliation burned like acid. They weren't content to take my money, now they were trying to destroy my professional reputation too. That evening, I made a decision that would change everything. I sat at my kitchen table with a notebook and methodically listed every financial tie I had to my family: joint accounts, shared subscriptions, family cell phone plans, even holiday gift expectations. One by one, I severed them all. I closed the compromised account and opened a new one at a different bank. I removed myself from the family cell phone plan. I canceled the streaming services I had been paying for. I withdrew from the family vacation fund. For the first time in my adult life, I was financially independent, truly independent from my family. Then I drafted an email. To my family, for years, I've given everything I had: my time, my money, my trust, only to be told it wasn't enough. The $25,000 that was taken from me wasn't just money. It was my future, my dreams, and most importantly, my trust in you. I won't be contacting the police, not because what you did was acceptable, but because I'm choosing to remove myself from this cycle entirely. From this point forward, I am no longer available emotionally, financially, or otherwise to any of you. Do not contact me at work. Do not attempt to access any of my accounts. Do not expect my presence at family gatherings. This isn't a negotiation or a temporary reaction. This is my boundary, and it is final. Alexandra. I hit send before I could second-guess myself, then blocked their numbers and social media accounts. The silence that followed was both terrifying and liberating. Of course, they didn't respect my boundaries. They never had. The next day, Eliza showed up at my apartment, pounding on the door until my neighbors poked their heads out in concern. "You can't just cut us off," she shouted through the door. "We're your family. You owe us." I didn't open the door. I didn't say a word. Eventually, she left. My mother tried next, with a different approach. She sent a carefully worded letter through a mutual friend, expressing how concerned she was about my erratic behavior and how the family just wanted to help me through this difficult time. Help me. After they'd stolen my savings, tried to sabotage my job, and dismissed my feelings at every turn. The most painful part was how quickly the extended family turned against me. Aunts, uncles, cousins, people who hadn't bothered to call me in years suddenly had very strong opinions about how I was abandoning my family over a misunderstanding. One cousin even messaged me, "Family arguments shouldn't be solved by cutting people off. Grow up and work it out." Work it out, as if there was a compromise to be found in theft and betrayal. The weeks that followed were the loneliest of my life. I'd always defined myself in relation to my family: the responsible one, the successful one, the one who could be counted on. Without that identity, I felt adrift. But slowly, something unexpected happened. In the absence of their constant demands, I began to rediscover parts of myself I'd forgotten existed. I started painting again, something I'd loved in college but abandoned because it wasn't practical. I reconnected with friends I'd neglected because family obligations always took precedence. I even went on a date for the first time in years with someone who valued my company for more than what I could provide. 6 months after cutting ties, I received an email from Marcus. Unlike the others, he'd respected my boundaries, not contacting me until now. "Alex, I've been thinking a lot about what happened. I was wrong to dismiss your feelings, and I'm sorry. The way the family treated you wasn't right. Eliza used the money to buy the condo, but has already missed 2 mortgage payments. Mom's been covering for her, but things aren't good. They keep expecting you to come back and fix everything like you always have. I understand if you don't want to respond to this. I just wanted you to know that I see what happened now, and I'm sorry I didn't stand up for you. Marcus." I read the email several times, feeling the familiar pull of family obligation. Part of Meth apart that had been conditioned to rescue, to fix, to save wanted to respond immediately, to rush back into their lives and make everything better. But the stronger part, the part that had been healing in their absence, knew better. I didn't respond to Marcus's email, not because I didn't forgive him, but because any response would be an opening, a crack in the boundary I'd built to protect myself. A year passed. I had found a new rhythm to my life. I'd received a promotion at work, started a small side business selling my artwork online, and even moved to a better apartment in a quieter neighborhood. Without the financial drain of supporting my family, I was finally building the life I wanted. Then, on a crisp autumn day much like the one when this all began, I ran into Eliza at a coffee shop. She looked different, thinner, more tired, without the designer clothes and perfectly styled hair she'd always prioritized. Our eyes met across the room, and for a moment, neither of us moved. Then she approached my table, hesitant in a way I'd never seen before. "Alexandra," she said softly, "can we talk?" I gestured to the empty chair across from me, curious despite myself. "I lost the condo," she admitted, staring into her coffee cup, "and my job. Mom can't help anymore because her health isn't good, and Marcus has his own family to support now." I waited, expecting the request for money that would surely follow, the familiar pattern reasserting itself. But instead, she said something that caught me completely off guard. "I'm not here to ask for anything. I just wanted to say I'm sorry. What I did was unforgivable, and I don't expect you to forgive me. But you should know that I understand now what I took from you. It wasn't just money." I sat there, speechless. It was the first genuine apology I'd ever received from her. "I'm starting over," she continued. "Got a roommate, working 2 jobs. It's hard, but it's honest. I'm learning how to stand on my own for the first time." We talked for an hour, really talked, without the manipulation and guilt that had characterized our relationship for so long. Before she left, she handed me a small envelope. "It's not much," she said, "just the first payment. I plan to pay back everything, even if it takes years." Inside was a check for $500 and a handwritten note, the first of many. "I'm sorry for everything." I didn't cash the check, not because I didn't believe her sincerity, but because I realized that the money had never been the point. What I'd needed was the acknowledgement, the recognition that what had been done to me was wrong. That was worth more than $25,000. 2 years have passed since that day in the coffee shop. I've maintained my boundaries with my family, though they've softened slightly. Marcus and I speak occasionally. Eliza sends small payments when she can, which I put into a separate account, untouched. My mother and I exchange brief, civil emails on birthdays and holidays. It's not forgiveness exactly. It's something more complicated, a cautious renegotiation of relationships that were fundamentally broken. The money I lost, I've mostly made back through hard work and careful saving. The trust I lost may never fully return, but something unexpected has grown in its place: self-respect. The knowledge that I am worthy of better treatment than what I accepted for so long. So if you're watching this and wondering if it's really possible to walk away from toxic family relationships to rebuild a life that's truly yours, I'm here to tell you, it is. It's painful, it's lonely, and it goes against everything we're taught about family loyalty. But sometimes, loving yourself means leaving behind those who cannot or will not love you properly. The hardest lesson I've learned is that family isn't just a word that grants unlimited access to your life, your resources, or your heart. Real family, whether biological or chosen, respects your boundaries, celebrates your success without resentment, and would never ask you to set yourself on fire to keep them warm. I want to hear from you now. Have you ever had to distance yourself from family for your own well-being? What helped you through that difficult transition? Or are you still struggling with family members who take more than they give? Leave a comment below and let's support each other through these complicated relationships. And remember, you don't have to bleed yourself dry to prove your love. Sometimes, the most loving thing you can do for yourself and for Themis to walk away.